Hello and welcome to the Katie Halper Show. We are so excited to be doing this special Friday daytime stream. We've been doing extra streams because there is so much going on in the world, and it is so important to keep people informed, especially when it comes to stories that get either ignored or misrepresented in the media. And of course, we're going to be talking about stories that very much apply to that circumstance, that definition. So we're going to be talking to two guests today. We're going to be talking first to Medea Benjamin, the great Medea Benjamin, friend of show, repeat offender. When I say repeat offender, I mean both doing great mischief, getting herself arrested, protesting, speaking out, and also repeat guest on the Katie Halper Show. And then we're going to be bringing on Sajjad Burki, who's making his debut on the Katie Halper Show. He is the secretary of the PTI OIC, that's Organization of International Chapters of PTI, which is the political party of which Imran Khan is a member. And we're going to be talking about Imran Khan's deteriorating health. He's nearly blind in one eye, and he's being, as you guys know, anyone who watches the show knows, persecuted, incarcerated, and mistreated. So if you haven't already, please do like the stream. That's a great way to support the show and get the word out. Also, please do subscribe so you don't miss any of these streams. And to do that, you press subscribe and then the bell. And if you can afford it, we would love some Patreon support because we could not do the show without your Patreon support. And you can do that at patreon.com/The Katie Halper Show. Again, that's patreon.com/The Katie Halper Show. And you will find there, if you can do the $5 a month, you get literally hundreds of hours of extended interviews, bonus content. If you can't swing that and you still want to support the show, you can do that for $1 a month. So literally $12 a year. And we urge you to do that. Okay. So bringing on our first guest, and you love her. She's wonderful. Medea Benjamin. She is with Code Pink. She is the co-founder of Code Pink, and she is also the author of several books, including most recently War in Ukraine, Making Sense of a Senseless Conflict, which she co-wrote with Nicholas J.S. Davies. Okay, and she is back from Cuba. She's going to be talking to us about her recent trip to Cuba and also what's next. Hi, Medea.
Hey, good to be on with you, Katie.
Of course. Thank you so much for joining.
I do want to say I have one more recent book, and that is one on NATO, All You Need to Know. And I think people need to know a lot about NATO. So it's a good little handbook.
You're right. And I actually knew that. And that is I have to update the bio that I have for you. But I have that book and it's great. And it's also very handy. And what I love about it is, much like the Ukraine book, it's very easy to read and short. So it manages to pack a real punch and give you a lot of the info that you need. So it's a great primer. So thank you for that. So tell us, Medea, about your recent trip to Cuba, why you went there and what you observed.
I've been involved with a group called Puentes de Amor, as well as Code Pink, for the last 2 years, where we've been taking humanitarian aid, food supplies, as well as medicines to Cuba. And we have taken powdered milk to all of the children's hospitals in all of the provinces in Cuba. And now we've took 2,500 pounds of lentils. And we went purposely to the eastern part of the country that has been hard hit by the Hurricane Melissa. And that is the area of Holguin that used to be the agricultural breadbasket of Cuba. But you know, Cuba there's one thing after another, Katie. When we were there, we were talking about what else could happen to Cuba. And then we heard that there was an earthquake that just happened. So it's really important to look beyond Havana, because as bad as things are in Havana, they're worse when you get out of the capital. That there's less electricity. There's perhaps more food availability, even with the problems that the hurricane left. But there were only 3 and sometimes 6 hours a day of electricity in the area in Holguin where we were.
And you brought a lot of supplies with you this time. Can you talk about what you brought?
Well, we brought these 2,500 pounds of lentils, and then also on this charter flight were things for people who have still not recovered from the hurricane, like mattresses. And we take charter flights out of Miami to bring these things. Now, there has been an exception to the U.S. Horrific sanctions, and that is you can take food and medicines. And then there was a short-term exception about taking hurricane relief.
Wow.
But, one of the things that the thing that Cuba needs the most, of course, is oil. And Cuba also needs electrical, solar panels and
Right.
solar lamps and all things solar. So that's something that we are working on right now, but it is very difficult with these U.S. sanctions.
Right. And we're going to, here's a photo of you on our way to Holguin, Cuba with 2,500 pounds of lentils, and with outrage at Trump's barbaric attempt to starve the Cuban people. Here you are with those bags. And here you are checking them in, I guess, or weighing them. Did you carry them on the plane with you? Did you check the luggage? How did you deal with that?
Yes, we did. We checked the luggage. We weighed each one. We put them on the plane, and we took them there. And in the background, you can see these boxes of mattresses that are going for the people in Holguin that, again, have not recovered since the hurricane.
Wow. Now, those bags, I assume, did you check? I mean, this is a minor detail, but those plastic bags, did you check them on like that, or did you put them in like suitcases?
We checked them on like that.
And they made it?
They made it. Yes, they made it. Those bags are pretty sturdy.
Wow, that's impressive. And tell us about what you saw in Cuba when you spoke to the people there, how they were experiencing this.
Well, when you go to Havana, you see the crisis in things like food. And just like in Holguin, the markets are very deceptive because you see vegetables, you see food in the marketplace, but the prices are just out of whack with what people make. In Holguin, we really felt the effects of the lack of gasoline because while in Havana, you still see more of these gas guzzling cars going around. In Holguin, you don't see hardly any of them at all. In fact, they were worried about being able to get us a taxi to take us from the airport into town because there is no gasoline, or there's very, very little. And so we had to hitch a ride on the truck that was taking these donated goods in. When we got into, there were very few vehicles on the road into town. When we got into town, it was much busier. And it was great to see all of these motorcycles, these electric motorcycles and these electric three-wheel vehicles that have become the mode of transport of people as well as cargo. And as horrible things are in Cuba, and I don't want to say this to sound positive in any way because people are really suffering and more people are dying because of the lack of medicines and the lack of electricity. But you do get a glimpse of what a society in the future might look like when we get off of fossil fuels, because the vast majority of vehicles are electrical vehicles, and they are really, really now scrambling to get things like the hospitals to be run off of solar panels.
Right. Wow. Well, let's take a look at a video that is talking to people in Cuba and asking them about their experiences. Okay, one second. And so this is Cubans describe the U.S. blockade in one word. And
One word.
Okay, let's see. Let me just.
One word.
One word.
To describe the blockade.
Cruel. Cruel.
Criminal.
Criminal.
It's like a genocide to the Cuban.
Describir el bloqueo no hay palabras.
No, there are no words.
Mucho, mi
I
hija
suffer
no
a
está
lot.
aquí.
My
Yo
water
sufro por los
is I
demás que
suffer.
me pasan
The
por
others
trabajo,
that keep going through so much.
cocinando por niños,
Working with
por
firewood, with coal,
en los
and
apartamentos. y todo se hace
Everything
difícil,
becomes
muy
difficult, very
difícil.
difficult.
No hay palabras,
There are no words.
hay una
There's not a
sola
single
palabra.
word.
Es tantas cosas el
So many
bloqueo.
things, the blockade.
Homicidio para el pueblo de
Homicide
Cuba.
for the people of Cuba. And abuse for
Es una
everyone.
política
It's a
genocida
genocidal policy
para
to suffocate us economically.
asfixiarnos económicamente y el impacto
And the impact is on the people.
Es la salud,
Health,
es la
food,
alimentación,
power
es
supply,
el combustible,
fuel.
que al estar
Yeah.
parado no tener combustible,
When there's
todo
no
está
fuel,
parado.
everything is
We
paralyzed.
are in the center of the town of Cuba called Holguin, where we came to bring food and to show support for the Cuban people who are suffering tremendously under this total siege that the Trump administration has imposed. But I must say that when you look around this beautiful square, it is absolutely clean. People are going about their lives with a lot of difficulty, but they are very resolute. I think they better come up with a plan of cooperation and treating Cuba with respect, because these people have a lot of dignity. They're very proud.
Ahora,
What are you going to do when there's no more gasoline?
Bueno, pues nos trasladamos por nuestros
by our
propios
own
medios,
by
en
bicycle,
bicicleta y en lo que
By whatever
sea
is
posible.
possible on
Bien.
foot.
Pero
We will
continuaremos
continue
y la
and
revolución no se va a decaer.
So, I mean, that is so, I feel like very, captures Cuba perfectly. It is always being challenged. It is facing impossible challenges. And yet the people are so resilient and resolute.
Yes, Katie, it is quite extraordinary. I mean, the level of suffering is hard to describe, because just think if you only had 3 hours of electricity a day, what you wouldn't be able to do. I mean, it gets very hot the summer months coming up. I can't imagine with the 90s degree heat, they won't even have fans that will be functioning. Getting around, if you can't get to a bus, you can't get to work. If you can't get to work, the factories stop functioning. If they don't have electricity, they stop functioning. If they can't get the resources. And then we talked to people who worked in agriculture, and they said, we're just trying to recover from Hurricane Melissa, and yet we need tractors, and the tractors don't have fuel, and we need irrigation, and for irrigation, we need electricity. And so all of these things are interconnected. And yet, so many of the Cuban people, they say, well, what are we going to do? We're not going to give up. We're counting on the resoluteness and the neighborliness of each other to help each other, but we're also counting on the international community, they say. And 2 boats just arrived from Mexico with humanitarian aid, and I think that was very inspiring for the Cuban people, although the oil that the Cubans need, the Mexican government is not sending because of U.S. pressure, and that is a big problem.
Right. You actually were attending the Nuestra America summit that was held in Bogota. Was this an issue that was discussed? I mean, how are people dealing with this, given that it's not just Cuba that's affected, but obviously, as you just referred to, Mexico, which historically has supported Cuba, is kind of being bullied out of giving the support that I think it would without obviously being bullied.
We had a number of representatives at the Nuestra America conference who were elected officials from countries all over Latin America, and they are pushing their own governments. There is, unfortunately, a rightward tide that is sweeping over Latin America and making this kind of thing very difficult. And so you have countries like Argentina, where the government is totally aligned with Trump and trashing Cuba. But then even in countries that are more sympathetic towards Cuba, you have a backlash internally against helping the Cuban people. So it's a very difficult time, which is why it's so important, this movement that we are part of, to say, look, we do not accept the 2.0 Monroe Doctrine of this Trump administration with its Donroe corollary. And we want to bury the Monroe Doctrine once and for all. In fact, we did that in symbolic ways when we were in Colombia. We'll be going to Venezuela next week, where we will be going to the sites that have been bombed by the U.S., talking to the fishermen families, trying to express our disgust at what the U.S. is doing, but at the same time, being part of this hemispheric movement to say no to the Monroe Doctrine. And there is nowhere in the region more central to this than Cuba. And many of the people at that conference recognize that. And that's where we started developing this idea of a flotilla to Cuba that we're very excited about.
And tell us more about this flotilla.
Well, what we're envisioning now is that it is a movement by sea, by land, and by air. And all of this would be happening, it's not exactly at the same time, but during the same time period at the end of March. We want to try to bring solar panels that would be crossing from the US into Mexico and driven down to a port. We want to charter boats that would be coming from not only Mexico, but from other points in the Caribbean and would converge in Havana. And we want the people who don't have a chance to go by a ship to be joining us by going on planes. And those would probably be going from Cancun, Mexico. So it's very exciting to be working on this. And it's amazing the kind of response we've gotten just in the last 24 hours when we announced this. And there is a sign-up sheet on the Code Pink website that I can pass on to you, where people can just express their interest in helping in any way. And of course, fundraising is an important way, media attention, like the Katie Halper Show, and all kinds of ways to show our support for the Cuban people.
Yes, and we will definitely put a link in there. Wanted to go back to what you just mentioned, and this is, of course, related, the burial that you're trying to do of the Monroe Doctrine. And here's a great video of you carrying around the coffin of the Monroe Doctrine and the Donroe Doctrine.
So here lies the Monroe Doctrine, dead to the world, no breath left. But are we sad? No! Down with the Monroe Doctrine. The Monroe Doctrine is the most evil of imperialist natures. We must say no to the Monroe Doctrine, which is no different than Israel saying we own Gaza, we own West Bank. It's the same with U.S. imperialism saying we own South America, the Caribbean, and wherever else they want to convert. Big bloody dollar-crooked finger.
Abajo, la doctrina Monroe, que viven los pueblos de América Latina y Caribe.
No queremos más el doctrina Monroe.
We don't want more Monroe Doctrine. I got to say, Medea, one of the things that I so admire about you is how you manage to talk about really important things, literally life and death issues, but you also use humor and you have joy. And it's so inspiring.
Well, that's you, Katie. I was trying to think, how can I be funny on the Katie Halper Show and talk about this kind of stuff? You're the one who knows how to do it.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, you are one of the inspirations. And everyone, I think, really appreciates how you manage to do those two things. It's not always easy because you don't want to make light of things. But I think someone like you who gets arrested constantly and puts your body on the line, I think it's hard to accuse you of taking these things, not taking these things seriously. And also, of course, your partner in crime.
Well, yes. And sometimes in Congress, it's fun because they are so ridiculous the way they respond to us, that the best thing to do is just laugh at it. Like when I was called a reprehensible little gnome by Darrell Issa.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, you should definitely put that on your business card or on your website. Yeah. And shout out to said partner in crime, Tig, who's there with you, always making good trouble. And let's see, wanted to ask you about some more campaigns that you're working on. And again, we will definitely put a link to the page that people can sign up to find out more about the flotilla. But you're going to Venezuela soon. Tell us about that, and tell us about what you're doing working with the people of Venezuela.
Well, we've put together a very wonderful delegation that includes representatives of different organizations like World Beyond War and Veterans for Peace. And we have, I think, about 16 people who are going. I mentioned that we will be going to the sites that were bombed by the U.S. We will be going hopefully out on some fishing boats, because this is part of another campaign that's called Reclaim the Sea, where people that have along the coasts of the Pacific and the Caribbean, where the U.S. has been horrifically blowing up these boats with no proof that they're even drug smugglers. And even if they were, you're not allowed to blow them up. So we will be talking to these fishing families and hopefully going out on some boats with them. We also want to visit an oil tanker. And, it's so mind-blowing, Katie, to wrap our heads around what's happening right now, because here you have Venezuela that sent its first shipment in decades to Israel, oil shipment to Israel. So the U.S. is occupying Venezuela, not allowing it to send oil to its dear neighbors in Cuba that are desperate for that oil, and forcing them to send oil to Israel. So we want to learn more about that and how we can help the Venezuelan people who are just so disgusted by what the U.S. is doing.
Wow.
As you know, Katie, and your listeners probably know, it's one of the weirdest occupations the U.S. has done in its history, of putting the leader in prison and yet keeping the others in their positions, but forcing them to carry out what the U.S. wants them to do.
Right.
So we're going to be there to learn and to show our support for the Venezuelan people who really want their sovereignty back.
Well, here is a video of you speaking of this extrajudicial murder. Here is video of you, of Code Pink, confronting Admiral Tom Allen of the U.S. Coast Guard about Operation Southern Spear. And you say people suspected of smuggling drugs are being murdered without due process, boats bombed, lives taken, and no accountability. So let's take a look at what happened during this.
Thank you for talking. Can I ask you a question about that Operation Southern Spear, where all of these people have been killed and boats blowing up?
I can't answer much for you. That's a DoD-run operation, and they could talk to you about that.
But doesn't Coast Guard collaborate with them?
No, not on that part.
Yeah, just on the rescuing of, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to say, as an American citizen, it really hurts me to be blowing up people without any due process and, just killing people, like 130 people, 40 strikes. It's really so illegal.
Well,
but thank you for talking to me. Can I ask you a question about that operation?
I was very nice there, wasn't I?
Yeah, very diplomatic. Yeah. Maybe because he mentioned the rescue that they're involved in. But
yeah, and the Coast Guard is not to blame for this. The Coast Guard used to be doing the job of boarding these ships and looking for drugs, and if they had them, then arresting people and leaving it to the judicial process to deal with. So I didn't really want to blame him. There are reports that the Coast Guard is working with DOD, but I get the impression that they're not doing it because they want to. And I've talked to people in the Coast Guard. We have friends in Miami that work in the Coast Guard, and they are really disgusted by this.
Yeah, well, it is. I mean, rightly so, because it is really disgusting. And of course, the media does such a terrible job of covering this. I mean, you would never know how criminal these actions are just listening to the mainstream media.
Well, that's right. And that's why in the public opinion polls, you find that there are so many Americans that do support this, because the way it's being posed of, what was it that Trump said, that every boat we blow up saves the lives of 20,000 Americans, which is absolutely insane.
Right.
But yes, the reporting has been terrible.
Right. Yeah. So there are 2 points to make there, right? One is that it absolutely does not do that. And in addition to that, it is a human rights violation. It's murderous, but it doesn't even, like you just said, I mean, it wouldn't be okay if it were saving lives, because that's just not the way the law works or international law works. Not that the West follows that anyway, but it's especially egregious because it's nothing but spectacle. That doesn't actually save any lives. So, of course, Medea, one of the greatest endorsements, besides being called a gnome by Daryl Issa, is the way that Code Pink is constantly getting in trouble. And let's take a look at the latest. And if you weren't doing your job, you wouldn't be getting into this good trouble. So congrats on that. So let's see. Department of State tweets out, organizations like Code Pink and the People's Forum denigrate the United States, whitewash the violence of Marxist regimes, and run cover for narco-terrorists like Maduro while enjoying an influx of cash from a donor network with connections to the Chinese Communist Party. And then, of course, a lovely headline from the extremely trustworthy, illustrious New York Post. State Department identifies Code Pink and other far-left groups as vectors of Chinese influence of operations. And I'm going to ask you about your response to this, but one of your responses to this is, just because Code Pink is not aligned with the U.S. genocidal partner Israel, and we don't want to starve people in Cuba like Marco Rubio does, the State Department makes up BS like this. So what is your response to this BS?
Well, on the one hand, you want to laugh it off because it's so groundless. I mean, we get zero money from the Chinese Communist Party, whereas most of these people in Congress and ones who, like Marco Rubio, were in Congress, are totally beholden to AIPAC, which is an organization doing the work of a foreign government. So, they're the ones that are influenced by foreign governments, not us. But on the other hand, it is scary because they are constantly doing this and pushing the Department of Justice to go after us, sending subpoenas, doing this, doing that. We have lawsuits against us, which takes so much time and energy and resources. And so, we are in a really scary moment in our history when organizations like Code Pink, that are kind of a apple pie type organization. I mean, our funders, we get thousands of individual donors, and probably many listeners to your show are donors to Code Pink. We are a consistently anti-war organization, myself since the time of the Vietnam War, but Code Pink consistently against war, whether it's the Russians invading Ukraine or it's the Israelis invading Gaza, or the U.S. bombing Iran. We are always against war, and we are nonpartisan about that. So it is scary, but I think it is important to let people know that there is absolutely no basis to this. That's all a way of trying to discredit the very good, consistent anti-war work that we do.
Right. And of course, I think the Republicans are probably more egregious and over the top about this, but Nancy Pelosi also accused you guys of being funded by foreigners, I believe.
She told us to go back to our headquarters in China.
Oh so
and, one of our, it's not our headquarters, but our strongest chapters has always been in San Francisco, where the group there has been constantly going after Nancy Pelosi, as we go after other Democrats who say one thing and do another. So yes, there are many people in the Democratic Party that don't like us.
Wow. Well, you work on so many different issues, and again, it's a great sign that you have bipartisan hate coming at you. You should welcome their hatred, as FDR said about the elites. I want to ask you about another thing that you are speaking about, which is so important, and you're very active on Gaza, and you've been to Palestine and to Gaza. Here's a story. Leqaa Kordia has been imprisoned by ICE for nearly a year for one reason: speaking out for the Palestinian people. She committed no crime. A judge ordered her release twice, and ICE blocked it twice. Her health is deteriorating. Medical care is delayed. She is weak, sick, and says she feels like she is slowly dying. And you can call her Congress member now, 202-225-3001. Rep. Jared Moskowitz. who's terrible, demand he act to free Leqaa, Kordia, and stop ICE from punishing free speech. And we have an update about this where we now know her legal team has communicated that she has had a seizures for the first time in her life. In other words, this is not a medical condition she usually has. Do you have any updates about her treatment?
Well, yes, there was a surprisingly good article about it in the New York Times today that talked about how she was hospitalized and that she was chained to a hospital bed after having a seizure, that she was said that her time inside the medical unit was terrifying, that she was brought to the hospital and remained there for 72 hours, her wrists and legs shackled to her bed as medical staff drew her blood and gave her medication. The entire time I was chained, she said, I felt like an animal. This is somebody who has never been charged with a crime. And now what they're trying to do is to say that the $1,000 that she sent to family in Gaza was somehow supporting Hamas. It is really criminal what they are doing. And this poor young woman has been in this prison now for 11 months.
So disgusting. Yeah, this is the land of the free, right? Home of the brave, land of the free. Well, last thing I wanted to ask you about, and by the way, thank you so much for what you do in Gaza. And, you know, people like you and me get accused of being self-loathing Jews, spreading anti-Semitism. And of course, we do this because we care about the people of Palestine. But the irony is that I don't know what these people who call us that think that they're doing, like how they think it's good for the Jews to be saying, yeah, hi, Israel supports me and I support Israel. Israel acts in my name, as Israel live streams a genocide.
Oh, and let me just tell you one little thing that happened to us yesterday, Katie, is that one of our people who joins us every week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday in Congress, and anybody listening who wants to join, please contact me, medea@codepink.org. He came in with a shirt that said, Jews say, let Gaza live. And he was stopped by the police at the entrance getting into Congress, and he was told that he couldn't come in with that shirt. They called the supervisor. The supervisor said, you have to take that shirt off and promise not to wear it in Congress. And of course, when I heard about it, I grabbed the shirt and put it on and went right back and said, we got to speak to your supervisor because this is absolutely insane. You're allowed to wear a shirt that says go Nike or, whatever. And we are considering this anti-Semitic that you say you can't have a sign that says Jews. And they finally came back and said, you're absolutely right. You can wear the T-shirt. But it's just another example of how crazy this stuff is and what is considered Semitic, anti-Semitic. You say the word Jew and they're worried. And so we turned it around on them and say, you're the ones who are anti-Semitic.
Exactly. They can't be the only ones who use that. Yes. And you're using it for good. So that's a great thing. So Medea, the last thing I'm going to ask you about is about Imran Khan. But I'm going to bring on another guest, a special guest, to talk to us about it. And this is someone who, again, we're very excited. He's making his Katie Halper Show debut. And his name is Sajjad Burki. And he is part of the PTI, part of Imran Khan's political party. So we're going to get an update from him. But also, I want you guys to be chatting with each other for a bit, because I know that this is a cause that you really care about. And Medea, I know you have to go shortly. So you'll be on this part for a couple minutes. Then we'll set you free into the wild where you do so much good. And we'll continue with Sajjad. So Sajjad, welcome.
Hi, Katie. Hi, Medea. How are you guys doing today?
Great. Thank you so much.
Good to be with you.
So
Good to be with you.
Tell us, Sajjad, about your relationship with Imran Khan and what the status is of his morale, his emotional well-being. He's complained of mental torture, but now he's actually facing serious medical challenges. Please update us about that.
Yes, the situation is pretty drastic right now. Katie, I serve as like you said, the Secretary for Overseas Affairs for PTI. I manage the overseas chapters. I'm also part of the Imran Khan family. We are related. I spoke to some family members yesterday to find out exactly what was going on. Unfortunately, no first-hand information has been given out except for the attorney appointed by the Supreme Court, Mr. Salman Safdar, who came in and filed a report with the Supreme Court and put out all the conditions that our previous prime minister is living under. And his condition with his eye. As we all know now, it is pretty serious. He has lost vision in one eye, almost 85% of his vision in one eye, and it could get worse if it's not treated immediately. The Supreme Court, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court did give a verbal to have him moved to a hospital before the 16th and has personal physicians to check him out and the family members to be able to see him. But unfortunately, he has never put that in writing. That's the amazing part in that country. They make these statements, but they don't make it and pursue it. So our party has been following up on it this morning. In the meantime, I tell you, the whole nation is up in arms. The people in Pakistan are absolutely agitated right now. From what I hear this morning, people are out in the streets. They are beginning to shut down some of the major highways, and this will get worse. This will not be taken lightly. Imran Khan's health is one of our major concerns, and we will do anything to make sure that he's given proper medical attention, proper medical treatment. His what they call, I'm not a physician, they call it a right central retinal vein occlusion. Apparently, the blood flow to the right eye is blocked, and that's why this condition has come up. So it's we all need to raise our voices. I know Medea has known Imran Khan. She has even gone to Pakistan and worked with him. I remember being with Medea in Washington when we did the hearing with Donald Lu, and we were thrown out of the hearing for making too much noise. But now the matter has become very, very serious. This is about his health. It's not political anymore. This is not a political dispute, but it's now a fundamental human rights matter. It's a matter of a person, a former prime minister who's 73 years old, wow, and who is not being given proper attention, proper medical the requirements that he needs to be looked at.
And we're going to ask you more about him in a second, Sajjad, but I just want to give Medea a chance to speak because she has to go, and to tell us, Medea, about why you care about this issue and this person.
I care about this issue because the U.S. has used Pakistan over the years in its, quote, war on terror, and so many Pakistanis have been the victims of this. And that's why we organized a trip to meet with U.S. drone strike victims and went with Imran Khan to Waziristan. It was quite a remarkable voyage. And we also got a chance on the way back to visit one of the cancer hospitals that he funded personally, and to see, as Sajjad knows so well, the tremendous adoration that millions and millions of Pakistanis had for him. And this was before he became prime minister. So then to see the U.S. involvement in dirty dealings to try to do what some call a soft coup against him, which is not very soft, to get him out of office, and then to see him treated so horrifically in prison on totally bogus charges that even the UN says are bogus charges, and that the US does nothing about it. I think they're glad to see him languishing in prison. So this is a very important issue that the U.S. people, whether you're of Pakistani descent or not, should care about. And I'm so grateful that there are Sajjad and the PTI groups are working on this, and I'm glad to hear that the reaction in Pakistan is that people are outraged, and maybe this is what is needed to shake things up and really get some movement on getting him out of prison. So thank you, Sajjad, for your work, and thank you, Katie, for bringing up this most important issue.
Of course. And thank you.
Thank you, Medea.
Thank you, Medea, for everything that you do. And we will, of course, bring you back on soon, and very excited to hear more about the flotilla.
Okay, great.
Day.
Thank you.
Bye. Okay, so Sajjad, please tell us more about how you got to be active in this party. What do you think the most important things for people to know about are? I mean, why is this an issue that gets such little attention, media attention here?
Well, that surprises me too. As far as I'm concerned, I joined the party when it was first formed. I've been associated with Imran Khan for the last 30 years, especially politically. And we've been working on causes in Pakistan all these years. I live in the US, and I've try to organize things over here for Pakistan, for causes in Pakistan. But this one now, especially for the last 3 years, after which I do believe it was the regime change helped by the United States, whether somebody wants to admit it or not, there's plenty of evidence that proves it. So we tried to work in Washington. We last 3 years we've been going there, meeting up with congressmen, senators, the Republican Party. There were promises made to us before the President Trump got elected that they will try to put some pressure on the government over there to bring human rights. That's what we are calling for. We don't want US to be interfering directly in the affairs of Pakistan. But human rights are human rights, no matter where they are. And especially in countries like Pakistan, where there is a military government. And the next thing we know is that once Mr. Trump gets elected, he invites this self-proclaimed field marshal to Washington, along with his lackey, our prime minister, who's a criminal, who was supposed to be in jail, 1 day before he was made prime minister. Did you know that? He had a hearing. He had a hearing the day, 1 day after, before they made him prime minister, on corruption cases, and he was supposed to be convicted. And they made him the prime minister. So he invites them over here, and he puts up this whole charade of this board of peace that they're making, that they're going to bring peace to Gaza through these people who are killing their own citizens, people who have no regard for rights of the people of Pakistan, people who have usurped a democratically elected government in Pakistan. And they are sitting on the board of peace. I mean, from what I hear, on the 19th of February, apparently these guys are coming again to Washington for this thing. And we will be protesting in Washington against these people being here. So, like I said, my struggle has been very long and hard, and I've been trying, in whatever way, peaceful way that is, to bring change in Pakistan. The people of Pakistan deserve to live like civilized human beings. They have rights. Right now, the way the country is being run, the police can, supported by the military, by the way, they can walk into anybody's house, break down anybody's house, pick up anybody's wife or kids, take them to jail, kidnap them, and not even have to present them in court.
Yeah,
that's the kind of situation we have.
And we've spoken to people like the journalist Moeed Pirzada, Dr. Moeed Pirzada. He had a mysterious house fire. Other people who are associated with Imran Khan, his advisor, a barrister, had acid thrown in his face, and he lives in London. Dr. Moeed Pirzada lives in Washington, D.C. So it seems like there's an international repression, and very scary. And we know another journalist had gone to Kenya and he was killed. What are your feelings about going? I mean, would you feel safe going to Pakistan right now?
Absolutely not. I haven't been back there, Katie, in the last 3 years. Last time I was there was when Imran Khan was shot. I was in Pakistan at that time. And then after that, I was advised by Imran Khan to go back to the US and work over there. So I came back here. And ever since that day, there have been all kinds of threats against me, against my family. As a matter of fact, it's funny. This morning when I woke up, there was this huge phone message to me, a very threatening phone message from an unknown number. So, I mean, I'm getting used to it. But Pakistani people living in the US are feeling the pressure. Their families are picked up. They are tortured. They are forced to ask their family members living in the US or abroad, in UK especially, to pull back from their campaign against this government. And like you said,
yeah, keep going.
I do want to make sure everybody understands how serious this is. Like you said, Mohit Pirzada's house, we don't know. There was a mysterious fire. The Major Adil Raja, who's a very vociferous critic of this regime in the UK, his house was attacked. Was kind of attacked. Somebody came in, and then Barrister Shahzad, he had the similar incident over there. So there have been many cases like this already. And of course, how can we forget the case of journalist Arshad Sharif, who was murdered in Kenya, and the government of Pakistan doesn't even want to pursue that case. How shameful is that?
Right. It is really shameful. Yeah. Tell us about what Imran Khan is like, and how you got to know him, and what issues are important to him, and why he's such a threat to the elites and the powers that be, and why they felt the need to imprison him.
I see one of the things that people have to understand about Imran Khan is he's a people's person. He's somebody who wants the best for Pakistan. He wants Pakistan to be like a free country, like the rest of the world. He wants democracy. He wants human rights over there. He wants a government that's elected, people appointed in places with merit, not the way we have right now, two families who have run Pakistan for the last 30, 40 years. So he's somebody who believes in basic human rights. Look at the hospitals he made. 3 hospitals, the third one will be open pretty soon this year, hopefully, that we've all been working on. He spent his life, caring for cancer patients. He's a very kind human being. And one of the things that I always say that, these military people who have taken over, if they make the right decision even now, I personally, again, nobody can guarantee it. I personally very strongly believe that Khan is the kind of person who will come back and forgive everybody for the benefit of the nation, to move forward so that Pakistan gets on the right track. The US could play a role, definitely. They are a superpower and they have huge influence in that country. I'm sure they can play a role in convincing these military thugs that are ruling the country right now to pull back. Let a democratic government work. All we are asking for is a free and fair election, which happened on February 8. By the way, hopefully you know how that election was conducted. They shut down the internet. They took away our symbols. They didn't let any of our major party leaders run for elections. People were hiding. And still, 90% of the people voted for Imran Khan and his party. And then they make this fake assembly where, the party that got maybe 17 seats was given the majority. How shameful.
Yeah. Well, another great endorsement of Imran Khan is the fact that we now know that Jeffrey Epstein called Imran Khan a major threat to peace in 2018, days after PTI won the general elections. And so what more do you need to know that this guy is a champion of peace? Because if Epstein calls him a threat to peace, he's obviously the opposite.
Yeah, I mean, that's Epstein's version of peace. What he, I guess it's his Israeli version of peace, like they have
Right.
peace in Gaza for those people. That's probably what he's talking about. Khan is a true believer in peace. He's somebody who'll fight for the rights of people anywhere in the world. I think one of the things that maybe I'm again guessing that got him into trouble was the speech that he made at the United Nations when he was here, in 2019. And he spoke about international issues. He spoke about his religion. He spoke against Islamophobia. He spoke for the people of Palestine, for the people of Kashmir. And that's what bothers these bigots who sit out there and who want to rule the world with their own by rules made by them.
Right.
But Khan is a very peaceful human being. I promise you, if Khan has a way of implementing his policies, there would be peace in the world.
Yeah. Well, amen to that. And again, really disgusting news that he has lost most of the vision in his right eye.
Yes.
There's absolutely no excuse for that, regardless of what you think of Khan. It is a disturbing piece of news. There's no reason that should be happening. Pakistan should be embarrassed and humiliated by that. But of course, the other thing is that we know that this really does fit with the so-called international world order, rules-based order, because we know that really is a joke. I mean, we see that from what Israel is doing in Gaza. We see that through what the West is doing with Gaza, how the West is supporting Israel, and more than supporting. I mean, the United States is acting hand in hand with Israel. So
Yes.
this really is a continuation of that, of the violation of these norms, and it really exposes whether or not these norms ever existed. To be honest.
Yes. And here's a person who's been now detained, or I would say arbitrarily detained, for over 900. Today, I think it's, if I'm not wrong, 923 days. For the last 101 days, he's been in total isolation. Not met his family, not his attorneys, not the medical staff, and now they suddenly they just take him to the hospital without the knowledge of any of his family or attorneys or anybody. And even after the procedure, whatever they've done, they're still not releasing a complete report on what they've done with him. This is, I can understand, them trying to put pressure on him or trying to break him. But the international community needs to raise their voice. International organizations need to speak up. All these human rights organizations, where are they? Why aren't they speaking up for Imran Khan right now? We have today I would like to take this opportunity to let everybody know our associates at First Pakistan Global have put out a message where they're asking everybody to make and the number is out there. I've retweeted it, and also make a phone call to the White House today and demand that they do their share, and also write an email to the White House talking about the condition of Imran Khan and how he's been held, without, in a way, even if the cases that they have fabricated against him, the sad part is they won't even bring him to court to face those cases.
Right, of course not.
It's a situation where things are getting from bad to worse, and before this country implodes, and I tell you, that's not far away. Look at the terrorism that has began over there in the last 1 month. Attacks in Balochistan. Balochistan is practically in a curfew situation right now. The writ of the government is failing in that state. The terrorists are coming in and hitting places wherever they want to. They hit a mosque in Islamabad. Here we are, the people of the party people, who, when I talk to them, they can't even travel from one city to the other without being picked up and put in jail. And a terrorist is able to, according to them, he's able to drive all the way from Afghanistan to Islamabad with a carload of explosives and blow up a mosque.
Right. Unreal.
And then and very conveniently, he leaves his ID card over there for them to pick it up. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah. They found an ID, his national ID card right there, where the bomb, where he blew himself up, killing almost 200 people. But the card is safe, so that they can.
Why is that? So that they can what?
They can make up a story.
Right,
it's all made up. It's all made up.
Yeah. I mean, of course, that would never happen. Yeah.
Yes.
Potentially. Wow.
So things are very bad, and I think I'm again going to ask our international people, the American associates over here. They need to stand up for the people of Pakistan. Pakistan has been an ally to the U.S. for a very long time. We've done our share for the U.S. interests in that part of the world. The friendship needs to continue with the people of Pakistan, not with these fascist governments, not with the military of Pakistan, who have had 4 martial laws, 4 dictators in that country. Enough. Let the people rule in that country.
Right. Well, last week, actually, I want to show something that you tweeted. 1 second. Here we go. So last week at the EU Parliament, you were at the EU Parliament to deliver your petition for the release of the EU report on the February 8 elections.
Yes.
On February 8th, 2024, serious irregularities and alleged electoral rigging occurred in Pakistan's general elections. Yet the European Union observer mission's report on these elections has still not been released, which is a matter of serious concern. So tell us about this, and we actually have video. Let me just play this video of you guys. 1 second. Sorry, let me unmute.
We're here in front of the European Parliament, and we met with our friend over here, who is a part of this establishment over here in Brussels. We had a met here yesterday on behalf of the Pakistanis who are trying to insist that the report on the elections, 2024 Pakistan election, be released by the European Union as soon as possible. And we are hoping, we brought some petitions here that will be handed over inside to the delegates, and we are hoping that some action will be taken very soon on this release of this report. Thank you. Here in front of the European.
Okay, so tell us about that. What's
yes, Medea. I mean, sorry, Katie.
Okay. I'm not offended.
We like we're trying to knock on all doors. I was in Brussels last week. We were there for our 8th of February protests that we held in Europe, in many places, in many countries. Brussels was one of the largest ones. I went to Brussels specially to attend that event so that we could go to the European Union, we can go to the European Union Parliament and deliver a petition to them. As you know, they had a delegation there, a team that overlooked the election, 8th February election 2024 in Pakistan, but they never released the report on it. In spite of all our efforts and our demands that the report be released, there was some portions of it was leaked, and we know what's in it. And they have identified all kinds of mismanagement and the way this election was rigged by the current government. But so we were there at the Parliament, and we walked in and we tried to meet up with some representatives over there. To be honest with you, not a huge amount of luck, but I still think we were able to get our word to them. We were able to get our petition, a signed petition, in front of them, and hopefully somebody from the European Parliament will respond to it. We've been trying similar things, as you know, here in the US, in the Congress, and we've made many petitions. We presented many of our friends have put up bills to sanction the people who are running the government in Pakistan, especially the military personnel who are, using U.S. funds to take away the human rights of the people of Pakistan. And we keep doing that. Hopefully, one of these days, somebody in Washington, somebody in Brussels, somebody in the Western world will wake up before Pakistan becomes another Iran. And I say this with great care. I know this is a kind of an inflammatory comment that I'm making, but I tell you, coming from Pakistan and knowing how situation is over there, if things are not done the right way, we could have Pakistan could be another Iran for the rest of the world.
Wow. Well, of course, there's a lot of hypocrisy there because the United States is very angry about Iran's behavior. And when the Pakistani government does things that are much more violating of human rights than what Iran does, they are totally silent.
Yes.
And what is the threat, to the extent that you can share it, what can you tell us about this threatening phone call that you got?
Well, it's just one of the many phone calls or messages, actually, where people will send us messages that, if you don't stop, we'll take care of you, we'll hurt you, your family in Pakistan will be taken care of, your assets or your property in Pakistan will be confiscated, those kind of things. I don't worry about these threats much anymore.
Right.
I have a very strong conviction. I have spent my entire life working with Imran Khan. Nothing in this world can change my opinion of him. My struggle for Imran Khan, for Pakistan, for democracy in that country, for human rights in that country will continue no matter what. I have already made plenty sacrifices. I don't want to sit there and talk about myself, but there are many like me who are out there making these sacrifices right now. Our previous Deputy Speaker of the Parliament, Mr. Suri, he's here in Houston right now. He had to run out of the country, escape from that country. Comes from a very respectable family from Balochistan. He's driving an Uber right now to survive.
Wow.
So those are the kind of conditions our people are going through.
Well, we actually have another guest that we're bringing on, and she's joining us from abroad. She is the sister-in-law of Imran Khan, the sister of Bushra Bibi, Maryam Riaz Wattoo. Welcome, Maryam.
Hi, Katie. Thanks for inviting me.
Hi, Maryam.
How are you? Hi, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. How are you?
So,
Buzz to you. Yeah. Yes, Katie, please go ahead.
Oh, sorry. We're so sorry to hear about what's happening to your sister and your brother-in-law. What updates can you give us?
So, unfortunately, I didn't hear your program. I was outside, so I couldn't catch up the first part. I'm sure Burki Saab has given you the updates on the condition of Imran Khan Saab, which is, as very concerning what's happening to him. And he needs urgent medical care. And it is so sad. It is so absolutely sad. He's loved by, all Pakistanis, not only in Pakistan, across the globe, not only Pakistanis, everybody else, every nationality. I saw so many tweets from Indian cricketers today, from Australia, from England, everywhere. He's loved everywhere. And it is so sad that he's being treated this way. Katie, when I was last on your show, I told you that for months, they did not allow our families to meet, neither with my sister nor with Imran Khan. It was during this time that whatever they did to him, and we are very skeptical. We think, after discussion with the doctors, that he may have been, exposed to some poisonous material in the cell, which can cause this condition of the eye, which is called CRBO. It can also be caused by prolonged confinement in tight spaces where there's lack of oxygen, or, as I said, fumes of toxic substances, arsenic, mercury, and all that. And we don't know what happened to him in last a few months, because all contacts with him were not allowed. Family, lawyers, and you must have seen his sisters protesting every Tuesday outside the jail for access. Our family used to be there. We were not given access. So 2 weeks ago, when our family was finally allowed to meet Bushra Imran Khan, that is where she told the family that she's very concerned. She had met Imran Khan earlier that day within the jail premises. He told her about his condition, that his eye is really bad. And they took him to the hospital in the middle of the night without informing anybody, without informing lawyers or the family, got him some treatment done, but his eye has not improved any. So the first time we came to know authentically, like first we heard the rumors, but authentically we heard on 3rd of February that his eye is not recovering. And then we, of course, told his sisters, other party leaders. And then again, when my family met Bushra Bibi last week, she again said that she had met Khan earlier that day, that his eye was he could only see like 10% to 15%. That's it. That's the visibility he has in eye. This is after the procedure
Bushra
that they
Bibi,
took him to the hospital.
To know is of course your sister and Imran Khan's wife.
My
who's
sister
also in
Imran
prison.
Khan's wife. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry,
So she
I cut
was
you off.
very concerned. She told the family to go out and tell everybody, the party and Imran Khan's sister, and press upon the government and all those who are in control to allow Imran Khan's personal doctors to see him. Still not allowed. Eye is such a sensitive issue. Until this time, the court, although the court said yesterday they will allow the doctors, but until now, what I know is the court has not signed the order. So still, there is no medical care being provided to him. It's absolutely sad.
And how is your sister doing?
She is very concerned, of course. I think they don't understand why this is happening, what's happening, because nobody understands this, because Imran Khan being the most popular leader, the hero of the nation, founder of cancer hospitals, universities, free cancer hospitals, free universities, and he is being treated in this way by his own government. It's just absolutely, I don't think anybody can comprehend this. Like how, I don't understand this, that why and how they can do this to him. So of course she's very concerned. When we told the media, when I told the media and I tweeted and I told the party, we risked that if we told this to her, because they were trying to hide this news, then our family meetings will again be stopped with Bushra Bibi. But she said, no matter what, you have to go out and you must tell everybody what's happening to Imran Khan.
Right. Wow. Well, it's so terrible. It's so, he's such an inspiring figure, such a fascinating figure. And, it's I think precisely because he does the things that he does and did the things that he did, like you were just mentioning with the free hospitals, that he's being punished.
Yes, absolutely. And his support for everybody, the humanity, his work against Islamophobia, the Islamophobia Day that is, now recognized a day by UN against Islamophobia, all that are his efforts. His very vocal support for Palestinian cause, Kashmir cause and all that. So he is a revered figure, as I said, across the globe. And not only about, Pakistan, as I said again and again, that he is so loved. So seeing this happen to him, believe me, Katie, since last 2 weeks, I have not been able to sleep, or I've just been thinking about his condition, his solitary confinement. He's not being able to see his family. He's not being able to. And I think what he must be thinking, that maybe he's not thinking, but I think on his behalf that he did all this for our nation. He doesn't deserve this.
Right.
He just doesn't.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's very sad. It's actually very shameful. Let me say it. It's very shameful for Pakistani nation to allow this to happen to a person who is their hero. It is very shameful for us as a nation, as Pakistanis, to allow this to go on. And as we speak, Betty, there are workers in different provinces of Pakistan who have taken to the streets and they're protesting against this treatment of Imran Khan. And they have done it extempore, like spontaneous protests are there, and they're blocking roads because even the leaders of the party are trying to, placate them and say, okay, we are talking and all that. But the workers are so much passionate about Imran Khan that they're just out on the street and they're not ready to go back.
Right. Wow. Yeah. Well, it's really awful. And we're so grateful to both of you for coming on. We will put all the information that you provide us with in the description. I would love to have Alima Khan back on. I don't know if that's possible, but it would be great to talk to her because she's there. And I mean, I'm glad she's still free. I'm glad the rest of his family hasn't been locked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a remark. First of all, I want to put my word in and let the world know that imprisoning a former prime minister and maybe for concocted political reasons is you may have an excuse, but holding his wife, who is not political, who has nothing to do with government, who has never interfered in the affairs of the government, and holding her in a cell for almost 700 days now without giving her the right of even a trial. That's the kind of government that we're dealing with. And the next thing, I want you to know that his sons who live abroad, as we all know, they are British citizens, have been trying for the last 6 months to get a visa to go and visit their father. And they're being denied a simple visa to go to Pakistan so that they may be able to talk to their father and inquire about him. And these relationships cannot be taken lightly. There are rights for the family, and they're being completely ignored in Pakistan right now.
Right, of course. Well,
All
thank
right.
you.
Human rights, legal rights, all rights are being ignored. It's just might is right. That's all.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we will definitely bring you back on. I think we have a message. Someone just texted me from, let me see what language it's in. Okay. So we actually have a message from Dr. Faisal Sultan, CEO of Shaukat Khanum Hospitals and Imran Khan's longtime personal physician. He's issued a statement addressing concerns over health of arbitrarily detained former Prime Minister Imran Khan on the 13th of February. So that is today. So I'm going to share that right now, put that on screen. 1 second, please. And guys, if you haven't already liked this, please give this a like, because it's so important that people see what's happening. This is a really ignored story, even by leftist progressive media, which is a kind of a mystery. So when you like this, you are getting the word out. I'm not just asking
And
for...
Katie, if you give me a minute, please, and let me remind your viewers why this is important for the world and not only for Pakistanis. Pakistan is a very strategic country. It is because of its location, because geopolitics, environment, and all. It's a very important country. Pakistan cannot have any sort of stability under the current illegitimate government, because we did not elect this government. It's a legitimate government from our point of view. It was imposed by rigged elections. Unless there is political stability, which is only possible if Imran Khan is out. He is the only one with the nation elected. Sorry, I keep saying selected, because currently the rulers are selected by the military. Unless then, there will be no peace in Pakistan. You have seen the recent increase in violence in the terrorist attacks within Pakistan. Imran Khan was there, and this is a DGI's PR, the army's own statement, when they were showing a graph recently in their press conference, and you can see the terrorist attacks increased 3-fold since Imran Khan has left. They call him Taliban Khan. He was not Taliban Khan. He was trying to create peace. His first preference is always peace. He talks about peace, be it with Taliban, be it with anybody. He talks about peace. So when he was the prime minister, these attacks were reduced to almost zero. But now we see so many lives being lost in Balochistan, in KPK provinces, just because of this terrorism. And our economy is going down the drain because nobody is ready to invest in Pakistan because of these people who are corrupt and have been imposed on Pakistan. Under them, nobody is ready to come and invest in Pakistan. Pakistan has a lot of potential, people, resources, everything. But people are not ready to invest unless there is political stability, which is only possible with Imran Khan.
Yep.
And political stability in this country impacts political stability of the region and the globe.
Right. Well, let me just share this medical update from from a doctor. 1 second, please. And thanks everyone for your patience. I'm doing this alone because this is an extra stream, so we don't have Brad today. I didn't give him enough notice. Let me just read this. Okay. Dr. Faisal Sultan, Dr. Faisal Sultan, CEO of Shaukat Khanum Hospitals and Imran Khan's longtime personal physician, has issued a statement addressing concerns over health of arbitrarily detained former Prime Minister Imran Khan. 13th February 2026. Hashtag Khan needs urgent treatment. Free Imran Khan. And so let's take a listen.
Assalamu alaikum. It's the 13th of February 2026 today, and I'm recording this video to address concerns about Mr. Imran Khan's health, in particular about his eye. Over the last many days, you may have had the opportunity of listening to and seeing video statements by my colleague, Dr. Arson Yusuf, who addressed the matter in great depth and detail. Over the last one day, however, we have seen and heard media reports that suggest that the actual picture and situation may be much worse than was previously thought to be. According to media reports, Mr. Imran Khan may have lost up to 85% of his vision in one of his eyes. This is obviously a matter of grave concern, but also lends great importance to timeliness of treatment. In addition to timely and urgent treatment, it is crucially important that such treatment may be delivered by specialists that are specialists in the field of retinal surgery. Now, retina is a subspecialty of ophthalmology, and such specialists are specially trained and qualified to manage this kind of illnesses in the eye. The other important aspect to consider is that many times retinal problems are a reflection of underlying illnesses, which also require management, diagnosis, and review. And this is not only to make sure that the existing afflicted eye can be improved and vision restored if possible, but also that the good eye is maintained in its present health and is safeguarded. Such specialists also need to be able to work and be in an environment and a hospital or a center that has high standards of care, but also has the right equipment and the right infrastructure to be able to provide this very sophisticated and coordinated care that is required by Mr. Imran Khan at this time. One such institution is the Shifa International Hospital in Islamabad, which is a Joint Commission International Certified Hospital. And I believe that they do have the right infrastructure and the specialists to be able to provide this care at high quality and at excellence, which is to ensure that Mr. Khan receives the care that he requires at this time. I have one additional request at this point of the authorities, and that is that when such a team is put together for his care, one of us, either Dr. Arson Yusuf or myself, or both of us, are included in this team to help in providing all the insight into Mr. Khan's past medical history because of our association with him and his medical care over the last 2 decades. This information and insight into his healthcare will provide additional value and put together the holistic team that is required at this time to deal with this very challenging problem. Thank you for your kind attention.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's very good. Katie actually spoke to Dr. Faisal last night after I was trying to get Dr. Asim to come to your show, and that was their concern. They didn't want to come and speak about his condition unless they had any first-hand information at that time. And he said, if you'll please pass my message on that, we will be available as soon as we are able to give good information, right, rather than second or third hand information out to the people. And I think that's why he's posted this video out today.
Right. Well, we appreciate that. Mm-hmm. Anything else you want to make sure the audience knows about? Thank you guys again so much for this. Really appreciate it. We were able to get this together last minute because it's such an important story. And so little behind the curtain stuff. Sajjad and I confirmed this morning And Maryam and I confirmed literally during the stream. So that's how dedicated we are to getting you these important stories. Also, we are not paywalling any of this. We're obviously not going to monetize a story about people starving in Cuba, which was the first half of the show, or about Imran Khan being tortured and losing his eyesight. If you can, of course, we'd appreciate any Patreon support or YouTube membership. At the $1 level, even that's $12 a year, that helps us make the show happen. And thank you so much to Sarcastic for You Too for this incredibly generous super chat. We really could not do this without your guys' support. And again, we will definitely not be paywalling any of this because we're not going to monetize something about someone being blinded. It's the least we could do is to show you what is happening. But we do have some great paywall content that I encourage people to become Patreon supporters to access, including a full extended interview with Nick Bryant, a journalist, the first person to publish Epstein's Black Book. And of course, if you're watching, you should know that Jeffrey Epstein actually wrote about Imran Khan and called him a threat to peace, which is probably one of the best endorsements you could ever have. An endorsement from a smear from Imran Khan is a great endorsement from humanity. And it's funny, you know, I have a Google alert and for my name, and a big video that's getting a lot of views, the numbers are going up quite a bit right now, is precisely this video explained why Epstein was threatened by Imran Khan. So people are obviously looking into this again, and maybe I can revisit that with one of the journalists who's covering this, because now we have actually the J-mail. Someone actually put in a J-mail Epstein thing, as in Jeffrey, where you can search for people. And let's see, I will at some point, I will make sure to do a search for Imran Khan to see if there are any updated mentions.
Yeah, Katie, just 30 seconds. I want to thank you and the amazing work that you do, and you know, raise awareness about these stories which are really neglected by the mainstream. So thank you again, and I would urge people to really support independent journalism, like you know your kind self are doing. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. I appreciate your time, your effort. You know, all that you're doing for the people of Pakistan, I say. And once again, a reminder to everybody who's watching, listening this show today, write an email to the White House, make a phone call to the White House, put some pressure on the White House that when the 19th, when this joker is coming to Washington to sign this, whatever this left of Pakistan away to Mr. Trump, that he needs to let him know that the people of Pakistan are very unhappy. And they will do whatever they can to do the right thing. So make a phone call.
Great. Yeah. And we'll put the link in there. Thank you so much, Sajjad. Thank you so much, Maryam. And we will speak to you soon.
Thank you very much.
Best of luck, obviously.
Bye-bye.
And give regards to your sister, Maryam.
Thank you. If I ever get to speak to her.
I know.
You know?
Yeah.
Well, 1 year, but one day, inshallah, keeping the fingers crossed, hoping for the best.
Yeah.
Thank you, Katie.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Well, guys, thank you so much for watching. These stories are so important, and please do, again, this is not of any monetary value, but we really urge you guys to become subscribers, because we want to make sure that you are aware of these extra streams that we're doing, like the wonderful stream that we did today. I'm so incredibly grateful to these two guests. I'm so incredibly grateful to Medea Benjamin and Code Pink for all that they're doing. You will see us, of course, as always, Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we are doing these extra streams because so much is happening, from Iran to Pakistan to Cuba to Venezuela. And I'm trying to think, we're going to have some great guests coming on soon. We are having the great Imam Omar Suleiman. He'll be talking about Palestine, of course. We will be having on wonderful guests talking about so many different issues. And we are just so grateful for you guys tuning in. And we will see you Tuesday, if not sooner. Please subscribe. And please become Patreon supporters, patreon.com/The Katie Halper Show, patreon.com/The Katie Halper Show. If you can't do a $5 membership, Even just $1 a month helps. That's $12 a year. That's like a 2 drinks, 3 drinks, or 1 drink, depending on your style. And again, thank you so much, Sarcastic, for you too, for this incredibly generous super chat. And we will see you all next week. Bye, everyone.